The Big H Podcast, tune in now. Conversations that'll wow. Laugh and learn, stay a while. Let's explore that Hilton style. From the highs to the lows, every story just explodes. Mike's got questions on the go, diving deep from head to toe. Every week the guests align, sharing moments so divine. Stay with us, the pace is fine. Every episode you'll find. The Big H Podcast, tune in now. Conversations that'll wow. Laugh and learn, stay a while. Let's explore that Hilton style.
Sunnie Tobias, welcome to the Big H Podcast, take 2. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm great. Well, you're an employee at the Hilton High School, and I'm an employee at the Village Elementary, so we're on 2 different wavelengths during the day. But how was your day today? What did it encapsulate?
Today was a pretty busy day considering it was my lightest schedule day. It's just end of the semester, so I teach a lot of half-year courses, so it's kind of finalizing the grades for all of those kids and getting ready to have a brand new set coming in a couple of weeks. And with the IB class, just trying to keep them on track for the test at the end of April and trying to stay at least a couple days ahead of myself so I don't get overwhelmed with life.
What's the content area that you teach?
I'm certified health PE. Use my dog back there. He'll make himself frequently known. Certified health PE. This is actually the first year that I've only taught health at the high school.
And how many years have you been in a district, and did you teach in any other districts before us?
Yep. So this is my 8th year in Hilton. My first year teaching, I was out at Alden Middle School out near Darien Lake as a 0.4 health position, and it got bumped up to a 0.8. Then they were cutting the position at the end of the year, so I was kind of scrambling to find something full-time, and Hilton played out, and now I'm here.
So when you were in Alden, you lived out in Darien Lake, is that true?
No.
Okay.
When I was teaching in Alden, I actually lived in a suburb of Buffalo at the time. But Alden was about 10, 15 minutes from where I grew up. So it was kind of nice being generally familiar with the area. It was a nice small district, and then they cut the position. So I was pretty bummed about that, but I'm definitely happy where I landed.
Where were you born? Where did you grow up? Tell me a little bit about your folks and any siblings that you had.
Yeah, so I grew up in Attica, New York. We are known for the prison and the rodeo. Quite a combination there. It always makes me laugh when the kids in Hilton, they're like, we're from Cowtown. And I had drive your tractor to school day. So you guys are not country here as they think. It's pretty suburban. So I grew up out in the middle of nowhere, and I have one sister. She's 11 years younger than me. She actually just got her first teaching job this year, straight out of college. She's at East Irondequoit teaching earth science there, so that's pretty exciting for her. And I don't know, I did 3-season athlete, did 5 different sports all through high school. And after that, my mom taught at the elementary school. She just retired a couple of years ago. She was elementary PE. My dad was a financial planner, and they're both retired and living in the lap of luxury and rubbing it in my face every chance they get. My mom will text me in the middle of the day and I can't respond, and she'll text me 3 more times later. Why haven't you gotten back? I'm like, well, some of us are working. But I guess if I were in that position, I would do the same thing.
You mentioned that Attica is known for its prison and rodeo. I did go to rodeo there once.
You did?
Oh, yeah. It was great. Loved it. The sheep, when the kids get on top of the sheep and they run around.
Yeah, the mutton.
You said it was in the middle of nowhere. You got a sister now in East Irondequoit. Mm-hmm. She's 11 years younger than you, did you say?
She is, yeah.
Okay.
So my parents, they wanted a sibling a couple of years younger than me, and it just wasn't happening. So they they're like, that's it. We have the one. And then they randomly got pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was like 10. My mom told me that she was having a baby and I cried because we couldn't go to Cancun that Easter. So she humbled me. My sister humbled me. I needed it. But
Yeah.
it
You
was
didn't.
interesting from that perspective, especially that age difference. Like, I definitely had a huge role in raising her. So I don't know. I just feel like a lot of siblings close in age, like they have different experiences that I didn't get. And then I have that, that one perspective that a lot of siblings don't get with each other either.
Mm-hmm. So you said that in school you played 5 sports, because that's quite a bit. Tell me how
Yeah.
that worked out.
Yeah, I was all over the place. So my 8th grade year, did you see that? I just said it stopped the recording. Sorry.
Let me just check. Keep going.
Okay. So my 8th grade year, I did varsity track, varsity swim.
Keep going. I'm all set on this side.
Okay. And then my freshman year, I did cross country, swimming, and track. I pretty much just alternated like my fall sport every year. So swimming and track were consistent. And then sophomore year, I did soccer. Excuse me for 1 second.
It's all right. If it's not a child, it's a pet. We've had these before. I think earlier in the broadcast, she said she's got 2 German Shepherds, one named Gunner, and so it's all right.
They're both pitas.
Look, people love their pets, so there's no
Yeah.
sense in a crying baby on a plane, a
Yeah.
dog barking on a podcast. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Right.
You were talking a little bit about your sports. You had track, swimming, cross country. You played some soccer.
Yeah.
There's 4. I think you said 5.
And volleyball.
Volleyball.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And did you gravitate towards one more than another, or do you just enjoyed all of them?
Swimming and track were definitely like my things. And then in terms of like which fall sport I preferred, it would definitely be soccer.
Mm-hmm.
The volleyball coach my junior year, like, I think that she just needed players, and I'm tall and I was athletic. She's like, you'd be great. I've never played volleyball and I sat the bench the whole season, and I was kind of bummed about that because I could have been starting soccer that year.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned a lesson, but high school sports, there's not a lot, it's just fun.
Mm-hmm. So then time to decide what you want to do and go to college. Did you know right away that you wanted to get into health PE?
It was initially just PE, and I don't want to say like no other options were presented to me, but hindsight, it kind of feels like that. And I don't mean it in a negative sense. Like my mom taught elementary PE, my aunt taught and still teaches high school PE. So it was kind of just like in the family. I remember growing up, high school always ends before elementary school with a year. And I would, like, after exams, I would go down to the elementary school and I would help my mom with her classes. And it was just like a very natural thing. Like, it was just part of what we did every single day. And it came easy to me. So I kind of just knew at the time, like, that's what I wanted to do. I did not want to teach health. Like, my master's is even in PE. I took a CST so I could be health certified. And when I graduated college, no one was hiring. It was in the middle of a recession. So it took me a couple of years to get even that 0.4 at Alden, but it was in health. And I just took it because I needed something. And then as the years have kind of gone by, I definitely like found a shift in preference of what I'm teaching. I do kind of think I'm gravitating more towards the health than the PE, even though I still really love both of them.
Where did you go to college and how did you make that choice?
I went to Cortland because my family went to Cortland. My mom and my aunt both went to Cortland for PE, and that was definitely a part of it. But I mean, I did a college visit there, and out of the places that I did visit, that was the one that just kind of had the biggest, like, I don't know, if you're watching a movie and there's a college scene, like everyone's wearing the college logos and the gear, and everyone's out in the courtyard being like active and playing can jam, and that's literally what it was. Like, it just felt like a place I wanted to be. And it's just a very athletic and active campus. And that's the kind of person that I am. So it was just a really good fit all around.
Now, I don't know. It might have been you or someone else. Did you have an interesting experience where you visited a school and did a presentation somewhere?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me
Um,
a little bit more about that.
so I skipped school one day my senior year of high school. um, so I actually didn't get into Cortland right away. And I was bummed about that because I really did not like any of the other colleges that I applied to. So my mom is very involved with the New York State associations for phys ed and health. And so I skipped school with her one day and I went and did a presentation with her. And while we were there, I actually met one of the professors from the phys ed program at Portland. And we'd kind of told him like my application didn't go through. Obviously, I was going to be applying again the next semester. And he's like, well, I'm actually playing tennis with the dean of admissions like tomorrow or something. And then a week later, I got an acceptance letter. So, I mean, from his perspective, he liked seeing that like a kid who wasn't already in the program was already involved with the state associations and the presentations. Um, so, and now like being where I am today, I get that as well. Like if a high schooler were saying like, oh, I'm not going to be here today, or I'm, not going to school because I'm going to this state conference or something like that, then you definitely seem like you know what you want to do. So, skipping one day of school your senior year isn't going to make or break you.
Yes.
Don't tell me when I said that.
What was your presentation about?
Oh, have you seen the kids who stack cups really fast and race
Oh,
them?
sure have. I got a stack in my room.
Okay, so I was a cup stacking girl to the extent where I've gone out to Colorado a couple of times and helped run the world champions.
No kidding.
Oh yeah. It's like a little party trick I have. I don't know if I could do it anymore. I don't know the last time I've done it. But again, like my mom, I don't even know how she met these people, but I want to say it was like my sophomore, junior, senior year of high school. Worlds was always right around spring break, so she'd fly me out to Colorado with her, and like there was a moment where I was like on ESPN. I say that in big air quotes because like I was judging and the back of my head was on screen. Because they had it on ESPN, but like I got to meet the family who kind of created the whole company. I've been to tournaments up in Quebec, and then my mom still works really closely with them. She's actually getting to go to Switzerland in April to go work worlds. So yeah, it's a weird little niche.
It is. How many cups are there in a stacking?
I think there's 12. Wait,
12?
yes, there's 12.
And then do you know what the record is, let's say, for an 18-year-old? I don't even know how they do
I
it.
don't know. I have no idea what these times are, but I mean, there's like a ton of different events, and you can do singles and doubles, like and relays, and I think I don't even remember any of the times, but I've seen the videos. You see it in real life and you kind of like double take, you blink, you don't really know what you see. And I know there's videos and stuff that bop around online from time to time. And these kids, it's just crazy how much bilateral coordination they have. It's insane.
So you played 5 sports. You were in this competitive chuck or cup stacking thing. Do you consider yourself a naturally competitive person?
Oh yes. To the extent where last year we're at like the end of the year in PE and our classes are playing softball, and like I don't like losing.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably bad. I'm a teacher in this perspective, and like I got a kid coming in for home, and I'm just hell bent on getting him out, and
Mm-hmm.
he didn't want to stop either, and we collided pretty hard, and we both spilled down to the ground, but no one was hurt. But I don't think anybody likes to lose, but I don't like to lose.
No, and I think when we thought about getting you as a guest on the podcast, I was talking to Dr. Galp, and one of the topics and concepts he thought about was the issue of meritocracy
Mm.
and how maybe sometimes we get a little bit away from it and in trying to be inclusive and everything. And what are your thoughts on meritocracy? At least I know you got a husband, and you can speak about him and your son, who was in the military, and that's a very merit-based system for the most part. Talk a little bit about your thoughts on meritocracy.
Um, I just feel like it's the basis for everything. And I don't think there's anything wrong with people being the first of anything to have accomplished something, but that word accomplish has to go along with, with the accolades that are being applied.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, I don't even know how to explain this without
You
reference.
don't. I think it's hard to get into and to define without
Yeah,
being offending somebody.
yeah, and I'm never trying to offend people, but I mean, people perceive things how they want. I also think that if you're easily offended, then you're easily manipulated. Like that's
Hmm.
something that I kind of go by. So, um, I'm just gonna, oh, should I say it? I'm gonna say it. Like being the first female vice president, like that's awesome. I don't think the chromosomes that someone has is an automatic qualification for a job that they should or should not have.
Hmm.
Like that tells me nothing about your ability to handle stress under extreme amounts of pressure, your ability to decision make, looking at all of these things that are coming in hand, how you earned your way to your position. There's probably a lot of people who are in this country who are nobodies who are better suited for, you know, those higher titles than maybe even people who are in or who are going in or who will be in the future. I don't know. But I don't think that we can look at the superficial characteristics and be like, well, that's enough because you're breaking glass windows, like,
Hmm.
or glass ceilings. You have to earn that, and I think that speaks more than anything is that you did face actual adversity, and I hope that you failed a lot throughout the way to get to where you
Hmm.
are, to know that you actually you can do the job without just saying like, I look like I could fit the job and check a box.
I'm an elementary teacher. I'm in a male, so I am a rarity there. And
Yeah.
it's been said to me, and I can get a feel sometimes that people say, "Well, you got an easy job because you're a guy," and they need guys at the elementary level. And at some point, I guess they are somewhat true. But then I also throw in there that I worked hard at what I do. I instruct well, and I also manage well, and so I kind of see it also from the opposite end too. Where it's you still got to be good at what you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your husband, talk to me a little bit about him and his makeup and where he's from.
He grew up in a small town down on Cuca Lake, Hammondsport. I think graduated with maybe 36 or 37 kids. So his town's actually smaller than mine. Um, he is fourth generation Navy. So we met just shortly after he had gotten out. Um, I know he's been overseas a couple times. He honestly doesn't really talk a lot about it, which from what I've kind of learned over the years with kind of meeting some of his friends and then just seeing people online and, other people in my life who have been in the service, I've kind of come to realize that the people who have a lot of stories to tell generally haven't done a lot of the things they say they do.
Hmm.
There's definitely some truth to the brotherhood of it all, and not everybody should be privy to know what it
Hmm.
is they do over there. Like there's a reason that there's elite classes of these people,
Hmm.
and they've earned their way to those positions, and I don't have to know everything about that. So I don't know much about what he did. I know that he had a couple of days in Rome where he and his buddies drank too much. They got kicked out of the Vatican and kicked out of the Colosseum, which is, I guess boys will be boys to that.
Right.
Um, it's funny. We went back there. We went to Rome a couple of years ago, just he and I, and he was worried that like somewhere in the Vatican they had his picture on the wall back in security, and they were going to come find him and kick him out.
Hmm.
We walk into the Vatican and security starts walking over to him and he goes, "You've got to be kidding me right now." And they were just asking him to take his hat off. But for that brief moment, he actually thought that they were going to come and recognize him and say, "You can't come in here." Yeah.
Yeah, we call those people what, persona non grata.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last time we spoke, you talked glowingly about your son. Talk to me a little bit about him.
Yeah. He is going to be 4 at the end of February, which is terrifying and also amazing. I think any parent knows how bittersweet it is to watch your kid grow. And I feel like I'm in the very early stages and still naive on speaking of that even. Um, I actually just registered him for UPK, and I'm kind of like dying a little inside about how I feel about that because there's a big part of me that would also just like to homeschool him and not have to deal with all of, the nuances that go on with that. He is all boy. If it's a car or a monster truck or now superheroes are the thing, like he's in it. He is sweet. He is sour. He is smart, like too smart for his own good sometimes. Um, yeah, he's just awesome.
It's nice when parents talk glowingly about their kid because there's going to come a time when you're going to be like, ah.
I know, I'm sure there will be.
Um, Talk to me about some jobs you've had in your life that were able to help you pursue that teaching career or just become a disciplined meritocracy person.
Oh my gosh, I've had a lot of odd jobs throughout my life. I was like stuffing envelopes once in college. I don't even remember what the job was. They needed some letters mailed out. I was a nanny, so I was responsible for 2 under 2 for a family at one point. And there was, it's going to sound pretty simple, but I guess in today's time, it's not like I've never seen this many kids with food allergies in my entire life. Like when I was in high school, like this was not a thing. And that's like a whole nother rabbit hole I could go down is like, where are all the food allergies coming from?
Mm-hmm.
But these two girls had pretty severe ones. So like that was kind of my first time navigating that. And I was like, holy crap, like these kids could go anaphylactic and that's all on me. So,
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of like a big deal. I worked as a lifeguard for the Frontier Central School District down in Hamburg. I was an administrative assistant at M&T Bank for some hotshot VP over in Buffalo at one point, like in my struggling actress days, waiting for a full-time job to land. I was working as I wrote curriculum for Michael Phelps Swim School out in Buffalo at one point. I taught swim lessons full-time, which I didn't even know that was a thing, full-time swim lesson instructor, but it was. And I mean, I honestly think one of the biggest things was me being 11 years old and watching my parents and also helping like raise my sister. Like to some extent, I had a pretty high parental role in that, even though I was her sister. And, now that we're both out of college, it's still kind of hard for me to take like that. I know I'm not her parent, but the age difference really just had that type of responsibility within that role. And I have a hard time taking off the parent hat and putting on the sister hat because I never really got to be like the screw around fighting. Like we never fought, but we also never had any common interests
Mm-hmm.
because of our age difference. So that's definitely been a struggle, but I think it was something that prepared me. Sorry. I think it was something that kind of helped me get to where I'm at right now. And my parents and just the values that they instilled on me, like I hated cross country. I ran it, but I was not allowed to quit. Like that happened. I was like, okay, I'm a sprinter for life. Like I'm never running distance again. You start something, you finish it. You have a responsibility to the team. You have a responsibility to your coach. You have a responsibility to yourself that you are seeing this through. And once it's done, do whatever you need from then on. But quitting's not an option.
Great quote. Who are some influential people in your life, whether it's family, teachers, coaches, friends?
Ooh, that's a good one. Definitely my parents on both regards. My mom's work ethic, like this woman does not stop. I was a baby. She was teaching in Geneseo at the time, which is probably half an hour, 40 minutes away from Attica. So she'd go there in the morning and she went to grad school at night and then came home and she was also coaching. And obviously I didn't recognize it then, all the hours and time that she put in, but looking at like what we had throughout life and kind of seeing her working for what she wanted in her life. And she didn't have the greatest childhood. But she damn well made sure that my sister and I did. I'm really appreciative of that. My grandparents who are no longer with us, for the same thing. It was just a different time. Like, they're part of the greatest generation, and just hearing the stories of their childhood and what they went through, like, it really puts the things that we perceive to be problems as minuscule and
Mhm.
not problems. Like, my grandmother, her parents couldn't afford to have all the kids under one roof because this was just out of the Great Depression. So all 7 kids had to go live with other family members. And she would share with me letters that she would write to her sister who was in another town near Buffalo. It's like nobody has, I mean, people have those problems today, nowhere near as what they were then. And I feel like people take a lot of those things for granted. And I'm just constantly reminded, like, first world problems. Like, what are the first world problems that we're dealing with? They're probably not problems in reality.
Mm, very true. Very true. Another thing that you've spearheaded at Hilton, and you had some help with Dr. Gout, my daughter is a founding member, I guess, is the Teen Republican Club. Talk to me a little bit about the evolution of that and what that's been like getting it off the ground.
Yeah, it was interesting. So last year, a senior came up to us and said he wanted to start it, and we were obviously all for it. It's definitely interesting being, I guess, in that regard, we'd be considered a minority
Mhm.
in education with our, personal and political views on that. So this kid wanted to start it up, and he got it approved. He did all the paperwork, and we had.
Okay, appears we lost her. We'll see if we can get her back. But what she was talking about was the Hilton Teen Republicans Club, and her and Dr. Gaup run it together. And basically, what it is getting like-minded people together to have conversations around what they felt um, they were a voice that maybe they were having a hard time being heard, and they just kind of wanted, I guess, a seat at the table. And so her and Dr. Gaup developed this club. Can you hear me, Sunny?
We
Okay.
have a problem.
What's the problem? The dog?
So no, well, I don't know. I put him in the garage. That could be another problem. So apparently my husband's on call for work,
Yep.
and he just got a call, and I have to go pick up my son
Okay.
at karate.
Okay. All right. Well, you
I'm
take
so
off.
sorry. I feel like we've
It's
had two
okay.
dads.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you go, and there's going to be a
Okay.
couple more things that I'm going to say some quotes that I picked. So I
Okay.
really appreciate your time. I know your time is valuable, and maybe we'll catch up with you at another time that's
Yeah,
more
I'm so
suitable.
sorry.
It's okay. Family first, right?
Yes, always.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me, and go pick up your son.
Thank you.
All right, Sonny.
Bye.
Take care. The folks that are still with us, when I get emails back and forth from Sunny, she ends them with quotations, and I think they're rather poignant. This one is from Thomas Sowell, who is a famous African American and does a lot with education. And he said, "When you want to help people, you tell the truth. When you want to help yourself, you tell them what they want to hear." I think that's really profound because a lot of times you don't want to confront. You may just skirt things underneath the carpet. But if you want to progress something forward, sometimes you're going to have to get into some nitty gritty, and it's going to be an uncomfortable conversation. And that's something that she had on her email once. And lately, this most recent one is from Clarence Thomas, who's on the Supreme Court. He wrote, "Good manners will open doors that best education cannot." And I think that speaks well for Sunny because she does believe in education, but there's still that good manners piece that need to be taught at home, fostered in the school, and can really make that civility and that American citizen that you want in order to move forward. We're all different. There's a diverse population, but when you have good manners and you treat people the way you want to be treated, it's progression. And I think there's people like Sunny that are strong-willed, that stick to their principles, and have strong belief in family first, as you can tell, and just good for our society and good for our students. And moving forward, it's a good thing that we have Sunny in our school district. So, Sunny, I'd like to say this to your face, but it's been a pleasure getting to know you and exploring the topic of meritocracy here on the Big H podcast. We'll have future guests like Jeff Murphy, Jason Gentile, and others. And you can follow me on X at Michael Heiss, all capitals, number 17, at Michael Heiss 17. You can follow me on YouTube, The Big H Podcast, or on Spotify, also at The Big H Podcast. So thank you for joining me, and we'll see you all real soon. This has been Sunnie's Symposium.
The Big H Podcast, tune in now. Conversations that'll wow. Laugh and learn, stay a while. Let's explore that Hilton style. From the highs to the lows, every story just explodes. Mike's got questions on the go, diving deep from head to toe. Every week the guests align, sharing moments so divine. Stay with us, the pace is fine. Every episode you'll find. The Big H Podcast, tune in now. Conversations that'll